All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining. We'll get started in a minute here, but in the meantime, if you wouldn't mind, just type your name into the chat so we have a record of your attendance. We'll get started in a minute here. Two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. All right, why don't we get started here? Thanks everybody for joining. Those who just popped in, just type your name into the chat box so we can have a record of your attendance. We'll get started. So yeah, 2023. Why work at the Doghouse? So a lot of you, it's your first job. The Doghouse, it's not just a concession stand. It's an actual business. We have to get permits through the town. We have to get inspections from the town, just like any other restaurant or business in Hopkinton. Uh, Katie just had the Board of Health inspection this past week. It is a real job. And It's not something that you can just take lightly, and there's responsibility associated with that, and that's a good opportunity for a lot of you to have that first time experience. It seems kind of funny to think about it at your young age, but it is something to put on your resume. If you ever get in a situation where you're applying for a job and they request a resume, the Hopkinton Little League, seasonal concession stand is something you can put on there. When employers look for experience, this is something that you can add, and you may have provide you an advantage because you do have work experience. Teaches good working habits. We're not expecting people to just show up and not do their fair share. It teaches you to come in and what it means to be part of a team, be part of an opportunity, and really create some positive work experience. And then the big picture is it's part of the whole overall Little League experience. A lot of you were Little League players, baseball and softball. And if you think back when you were a kid and how much you looked forward to going and getting a candy or an ice cream or something to eat at the Doghouse, you're part of part of that is going to be providing that same thing to a lot of the younger kids in town. It is an important part of Little League that everyone here is a part of. So there's a lot of good reasons to work at the Doghouse. So as far as expectations go, be on time when you have a shift. So on time means a couple minutes early. If your shift starts at 5:30 and you're there at right 5:30 on the dot, you're going to have a little bit of scramble to get ready, but try to be a few minutes early to your shift. Communicate in advance of any changes. If you're assigned a shift and you can't make it, you can. Katie Stroud is going to be running the scheduling this year again, as she has for the past few years. Let her know as far in advance as you can if you have something come up and you can't make your shift. Even if it's last minute, just don't not show up and not let her know. If you get sick or you have an emergency and something comes up, you can always text Katie. You can text myself, email, and just say, hey, I can't make it. Keep the doghouse clean and neat at all times. If you're generating trash as you're making food, throw it away. If something spills, clean it up. Try to keep it as neat as possible. If you have downtime, it's a not a busy night. Clean. Um, there's cleaning supplies. There's paper towels. Spray down a countertop. It doesn't look like it's been wiped down in a while. Do as much cleaning as possible if you're not busy. Wash your hands and wear gloves. So each doghouse has a sink that's dedicated for hand washing. So everybody should be washing their hands right when they arrive. Um, Anytime that you're preparing food, it's something that you should do beforehand. If you're out in front and you're handling money, and then you need to go back and start doing some food prep, wash your hands again. There's never too many times you can wash your hands. And then obviously if you're touching food, the hot dogs or the pizza, anything that somebody's going to eat directly, make sure you have gloves on. There's gloves. There's lots of gloves in both dog houses, and make sure that you wear them. And as it gets towards the end of the shift, if you're the last shift of the day, start cleaning up before the board member gets there to close. And things start to slow down. It's the end of the night. Start putting things away, maybe do some dishes, wipe things down, make sure the trash is all thrown away. So help the board members at the end of their shift. The board members are all volunteers. They're going to come in. They're going to do a final clean and close it up for the night. But the more you do beforehand, before that, the more help it gives to all of those folks. As far as new product, just check twice before opening a new box of anything. So at the end of the year, this really is more important towards the end of the year. But anything that's unopened, we can return. And it's important just to if you think you're out of something, just to double check to make sure there's not another open box somewhere else. And it's been a couple years, but there was one year where at the end of the season we had like 7 or 8 open boxes of Oreo cookies. And it's something that if they're unopened, the league can return them for a store credit. And it's the boxes they're expensive. So any little bit helps, but just double check before you open a new box of anything. If you do have downtime, restock the drink fridge. It's just something that doesn't seem to get paid attention to all that often. So if you're at EMC Doghouse, all the drinks are stored in the maintenance area in the back where all the equipment is. There's also a freezer back there. But if you have downtime, go restock the drink fridge. In Carrigan, the drinks are right in that same room, and just keep that drink fridge full. Also important to note, if you do restock the drink fridge, don't serve warm drinks. So if it's a shelf that you just restocked, make sure that if somebody comes in and orders a Powerade or a water, that you're giving them a cold drink and not one that you just put in. If we're running low on any items, send an email to Katie, text her, and just give her a heads up. That always helps. She doesn't go there every day, but if she knows that we're running low on something, she can stop and pick it up on her way home from work and drop it off at the doghouse. But definitely need everybody's help to keep Katie informed if we're running low on any supplies, any food, anything like that. As far as people in the doghouse, so anybody who's not on the workers list is not allowed in the doghouse. So that means if you have a shift and don't bring in your friends if they're not they're not on the work shift. If they're not on the doghouse list, they're not supposed to be in there. So just folks who are on the workers list are allowed in the doghouse. You must pay for any food or drink you eat. So all that stuff costs Little League money, and if everybody comes in and there's everybody's just taking what they want or sneaking a pack of M&Ms or a pack of candy or a drink, it adds up. It adds up to a lot. And if it happens, every night or every shift, those that's all money that can be going back to Little League. So the expectation is if you want something that's fine. Just please be sure to pay for it. The exception to that is the cooked food. If you're getting down to the end of the night and there's some leftover pizza, hot dogs, or the hot dog's been on the roller for a little while, and you're probably going to end up putting some new ones on and throw it away. That's fine. No problem with that. It's the prepackaged food, the drinks, things like that. We do want you guys to pay for. The tip jar. So we do not want to see a tip jar on the shelf at either Doghouse. We're up raised pay again this year. We're up to $15 an hour. For the most part, I think everybody here that's worked in the past knows that you never really work more hours, and usually games end a little sooner. Usually, if you have a 2-hour shift, it usually sometimes goes a little less. So there's a between the hourly pay and the we're not deducting any hours if you're scheduled for a 2-hour shift and you only work an hour and 45. There's a lot of reasons, and it's just something that's a little tacky. We don't want to see. So please do not put any tip jars out. And then don't serve old food. That if you come to your shift and there's 3 pieces of pizza, and an hour and a half later, those same 3 pieces of pizza are still sitting in the oven, that and getting warmed. Don't serve those. Don't serve anything you wouldn't eat yourself. If the hot dogs or the pizza, the pretzels, chicken nuggets, if they just been sitting a while, get rid of them and cook a fresh batch. We don't want to be wasteful, but at the same time, we don't want to serve anything that's just been sitting under a heating lamp and is going to taste lousy. All right, before we move to the next section, anybody that's just joined late, please just type your name in the chat and just make sure we log your attendance. All right, as far as communication goes, so Katie Stroud is going to be running the Doghouse again this year. She's doing both the scheduling and the stocking. So get Gary Malosha, who was involved last year, he's moved on. So Katie is going to be doing both this year. So we'll send this document out to everybody if Katie hasn't already, but her contact information's here. Mine as well. So if you can't reach Katie, you can reach myself. And then we do have a website, Facebook, Twitter. We do have a YouTube channel as well that has some videos on it, some past training videos, a couple other, I think there's a couple videos on how to make certain items of food. But it's important to pay attention to the website and the Facebook page especially, because that way you can be informed of any rainouts, changes to schedule, things like that. So those are the ways that you can communicate with us, as well as see any changes to schedule in real time. All right, as far as the menu goes, so each Doghouse will have a binder that's called the survival guide. So anything that needs to get prepared, there'll be instructions in that on how to do it. So, for example, the pizza, if you open up the survival guide, there'll be a page or a section in how to prepare the pizza. If you see something in that binder that doesn't make sense or it isn't right, let us know. We want to hear that feedback. Hey, Mr. Ricos, Mr. Stroud, you put 2 minutes, 2 minutes 30 seconds to cook the macaroni and cheese. It actually needs 3 minutes. That's feedback that we'll appreciate, and we'll get that updated in the survival guide in both Doghouses. But if you have any questions and you can't figure something out on how to make something, check there first. The answer should be in there. And if you can't, then you can reach out to myself or Katie with any questions you have. As far as umpires, there was some confusion on this last year, but just to try to get this squared away. So umpires get a free drink before games. If they work consecutive games, this usually only comes up sometimes on weekends during the spring, but mostly during Sizzler. If they work consecutive games, they get a free meal between those games, and that meal consists of a hot food item, and a bag of chips. They don't get any candy or anything like that. If they want chicken nuggets and a bag of Lay's along with their drink, that's the expectation. Any hot food item and a bag of chips along with the drink that they get. All right. So there's 3 documents that you're going to get from Katie if you haven't already. We have a food safety best practices, allergen awareness, and foodborne illness handouts. I'm not going to go over them in detail today. Would like everybody to read them on your own, but there's a pamphlet on food allergies here. We have a foodborne illness pamphlet, and then we have a Hopkinton Little League food safety document. The one thing I do want to go over on the food safety document is the illness policy. So essentially, if you're sick or you're not feeling well, stay home. With COVID and all that's gone on, we just don't want to take any chances. If it's allergies, something like that's fine. But if you have fever, a sore throat, any of the major COVID symptoms, if you have any stomach bugs, and you're not feeling well in that regard, just stay home, shoot Katie a note, say you can't make your shift because you're sick. If you have any cuts or anything like that on your hands, make sure there's bandages on them or Band-Aids, and that you have gloves on, especially at EMC. If you have cuts on your hands, or you probably maybe just want to work the front, the money drawer, not handle food. But if you have any question about if you're sick and not feeling well, we'd rather err on the side of caution and have you call out and not and pass on that shift to somebody else. And if you do have any question about your symptoms and whether or not you can work, we're happy to answer those questions as well. But between these 3 documents, if Katie hasn't sent them to you already, she will. We do want everybody to take a read through those. All right, shift scheduling. So requests for work shifts will be sent out weekly. Try to respond as soon as you can. Within 24 hours if you'd like to request a shift. Just because you request a shift does not mean that you will get that. Until you hear back from Katie that you have been given that shift, do not assume that you have it just because you emailed her back that you're available for it. So just keep a good check on your emails or whatever email that was provided in your application, and then Katie will do that exercise weekly. If a game is canceled prior to the start of your shift, there's something like a rain out, and if you arrive for your shift anyway, you're not going to get paid. So it's important, from what I mentioned above, that you check if there's any question on weather. Check the Facebook page, check the website. Katie, and myself, we try to get that information out as fast as possible. Hopkinton Little League is in our full-time job, so we may be at work or stuck in a meeting and can't get something out right at the moment. If you have any question on the weather, check the website, check Facebook before you head to the field. If a game is canceled after the start of your shift, you will get paid, rounded up to the next hour. So, you show up, you work a half hour, the game gets rained out, you'll get paid for an hour. Essentially, is how that works. Minimum of 1 hour. If you make it past that next hour, you'll get the 2. Rescheduled games. So if you had a game rained out, the game, when it gets rescheduled, doesn't mean that it's automatically yours. That's going to go back in to the pool, and Katie will start reaching out to workers for any rescheduled games. The rescheduled games are going to work a little bit differently. It's going to be first come, first serve. So if we have a last minute need or a change in schedule, Katie will send out that email. The first person who responded that say they can make it are going to get given the shift. So that's how the rescheduled games will work. All right, so as far as hours, so your hours are going to get sent to the league treasurer every week. And then the league treasurer will compile those and he'll send out checks once a month. So just keep that in mind. If you do work it may take a little bit of time in order for you to get those checks in the mail. So the checks will be mailed to whatever address that you put on your application. So, just make sure if there's any question about where those checks should be mailed, let Katie know, and we'll get that updated. But that's how the pay process will work. If you do have a discrepancy in your paycheck or you haven't gotten paid, just reach out to Katie. Mistakes do happen, and we want to make sure that you get paid properly. One of the big problems that we've had in the past are people that trade shifts behind the scenes. If you have a shift and you have to trade off with one of your friends, or vice versa, and you don't let Katie know about that, the person who was scheduled will get paid for the shift. So we've had a lot of problems where the person who's scheduled can't make it, reaches out to their friend to cover for them. And then the friend that covers for them, we get an email from their parents saying, "Hey, they haven't been paid." If we go back and check the schedule and that person wasn't on the schedule, then we don't know any different. So make sure if there's any behind the scenes trading of shifts that you do let Katie know. And if you do not, you're the one that's responsible to make those arrangements with your friends if you do have a shift that gets traded off. All right, so that was the last I had for the training. Um, what wanted to make sure see if anybody had any questions. You could type them in the chat or just unmute yourself and ask. No? All right, great. So just a couple other things to add. You're working your shift. If you have any questions at all, reach out to myself or Katie. We're here to help. And if there's any problems while you're working, put our numbers into your phones, text us, ask us questions. I'm always around the field. I still have two sons who still play baseball. I take my dog Pepper for a walk all the time, and I'm always around the field. Katie's always around the field. Um, and on top of that, we have a lot of parents who are involved on the Little League board. There's always a board member at the field. If Katie or I are not there, even if you have a problem, let us know, and we could probably find somebody who is there that can help you. So, we don't want you to be afraid to reach out and ask for help if you do have an issue. Other than that, thank you all for attending today. Appreciate the time, and hope you guys all have a great season. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.